Hi, thank you. So I reviewed the Lakewood Town Community meeting, and it was a two-parter. The first part was had three um, pieces to it, um, and the second part was called a consent agenda, and we'll go over those pieces in a little bit. And it was a declaration of national public works is what they started the meeting out with. Um, and because it was June 5th, the meeting was on June 16th, and that started on June 15th. The mayor shook the hand of one of I'm assuming he was the head of Public Works, and had this picture taken with him for, publicity. And then there was a talk about what's coming up is Fort Steilacoom Park Days, and they have a cross country running, which is for of all ages. I think the youngest age running will be 5 for that, and I guess it is actually a national known park for that running, so that's kind of cool. And they will be having different age groups all day long running, and it's pretty neat. So I'm excited to that this was happening. Um, but the stakeholders that were present at this meeting were the mayor, Mayor Jason Whalen, Deputy Mayor Mary Moss, Council Member Dawn Anderson, Council Member Mike Bander, I can't say his last name, sorry. I'm going to call him Mike. Thank you. Council Member Patty Bell, Council Member Lindy Farmer, Council Member, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, and some members of the community. Okay, and it was a pretty effective meeting. They got a lot done. And during the open forum is when, because that all took 10 minutes for everything to happen. It was when it was open forum is when it took an hour for that to happen. There was a couple people that came in online that had nothing to do with actually what was going on. And I was really shocked they didn't screen it better. But the open forum was about saving the library, and the information you see on the screen right now in front of me is about the library. It was built by Russell Garrison, who graduated from Tacoma, and in 1964 is when he had it built, and he won the American Institute of Architect for that building right there. So I think it's pretty ahead of its time for 1964, personally. But he was a airborne, 11th Airborne parachuter in the war, with the Pearl Harbor War, I believe that was. And there's a book called Angels, and some of his architect designs are in there, from stuff that he did when he was in the war. From what I found out during this meeting, and he was finished out he joined right at graduation during the war, and came back a man, a boy, came back a man with honors, and a sergeant. And so yeah, that's a little bit of his history right there. And the history of the library that they're trying to save. I don't know if they're going to be able to save the library, but they are going to have a library. I wish the mayor, I think that's what he could have done differently. It could have caused a little bit less stress for people, because that was their main concern, is that there's not going to be a library. He could have helped them by saying there will be a library, I just don't know where, in the very beginning. That we're looking for a new location, and maybe even help people by saying we're going to try to maybe, save this building and make it a historical landmark, because that's another concern that seems to be coming up. But there was the second half of the meeting was a consent agenda, and that was an hour and a half meeting that went into talking about the sidewalks and petitions and stuff. I did go back into that one. I was hoping to be able to show you a whole slideshow of that as I was talking, so I didn't have to keep on going through everything with this, but it didn't work out like that. So I'm going to run through it for you. They have $18 billion worth of funding for sidewalks, and people are a little bit upset because they're losing their driveways. And this gentleman is upset because they haven't rectified some things that they did when they took his driveway from him. And the last time they did sidewalks. And there's other people. It's a little confusing from the document of the petition that people have signed. I'm not quite sure. I got a little confused, so maybe, I guess because I'm not part of it, I don't understand, and I've not been there, but I think they were short some of their signatures, but I think they're trying to rename a traffic circle, but I don't know, not quite sure. Or they're trying to take down some barns that are considered landmarks. I don't know. I'm really kind of confused. So, yeah, I got a little bit confused there. And at the end of my slideshow here, which I was hoping to have posted with this, there is all the links that have to all their websites that you can see all their cool stuff they got going on. But there's trying to save some of the forest land out there in the parks too and stuff, and what trees they're saving. That was talked about in the end too. So they're just trying to make it look nicer there in Lakewood, and that was what was the last part. And that was an hour and a half talk, so it was more kind of like the business meeting afterwards, and so it was a little bit more boring. But and most of the public people left at that point. Actually, all the public left, and so it was just them going over the phonetics, showing what they've done. So yeah, it was interesting. I've never been to something like that, and I can understand why I wouldn't go, because I don't own property, and I don't want to go to places like that because they're kind of boring. Yeah, I'd rather get it secondhand, I guess, from somebody else. But this was an experience, and I'm grateful that I went to it, because I would not have gotten this information about the library. This is something that was interesting. To see the passion, right, for these people, and even the whole town, the whole council members and stuff. I mean, they do care about this town, obviously. That's why everybody, and to see how much they do care about keeping it looking nice, right? I mean, that's what this was all about, was keeping the roads good, keeping the sidewalks up so people don't get hurt, because half these roads didn't have sidewalks. Because I work out in Lakewood, I work out there, and so I drive down these roads, and there's no sidewalks. People have to walk into the road, so it's not safe. So, I'm glad that they do this. So, thank you. Have a great night.